Anything else?
No, chill.
So I'm here today with Beth Ann White, who is such an awesome.
Somebody should
Someone
mute.
needs to mute.
Somebody needs to mute.
And in a Starbucks. Remember that, Beth
They're
Ann?
on the phone.
Yes.
I don't know who it
Ally had
is.
us together. Ally
No,
was
it wasn't
in.
that one. It was the other one.
I'm going to be sitting there schmoozing.
Thank you, Debbie.
It's what we do, Rabbi.
Yep.
So good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to be together. I'm not sure who that was on the phone that was trying to send a message, but do you know who that was, Rabbi?
I don't.
Okay. I think it was
sorry.
someone trying to introduce themselves. To that person on the phone, if you'd like to unmute and
It
tell
almost
us again.
sounded like they were on another Zoom call at the
No,
same time.
I thought she said I'm here with, and she was trying to, here she is, she unmuted. Area code 732. Would you like to speak? I don't know.
I have some good news for a
Go
change.
ahead, Ruth. We need to start the day with good news, Ruth.
My sister's daughter just had a baby boy this morning.
Mazel
Very
tov.
nice, very nice. Everybody's healthy and well?
Yeah.
Perfect.
The baby
Even
was
better
a month
news.
early, but the baby's okay.
Good. Nice news. Thank you. And you'll let us know what his name is when it comes out, okay? Very good. Nice news. Regina, you have your hand raised. I love this. No, you don't? Okay.
No, that was clapping for the baby.
Oh, very good. Okay. All right. Terrific. So welcome back, Rabbi. It's nice to have you with us again. It's lovely to be together. There are 52 of us every day. It's like Groundhog Day, in and out, back and forth. Happy to be together, happy to learn. So I have some exciting news that I'd like to share with you. Yesterday, was it only yesterday that we were in Israel with Dave's study? No, Tuesday. I was on a class with Naomi Gretz, and I was in her class in June also at the Day of Study. And I got on a little early, and it was just the two of us. And so we started to chat. I told her who I was and what I did and how I had enjoyed her class in June and bought her book. And she said to me, I teach a class on Thursday night. Why don't you come? And I said, okay, well, Thursday night in Israel is Thursday morning. So I started an intensive class on Midrash with Naomi Gretz this morning, and it's a very small class. And for those of you out there who've been telling me for 6 months, I need to do something for myself and take some time, I took some time. And what I want to say is that that's the connection that we all get by attending the Day of Study and learning from some amazing women scholars. This is a class with people from all over Israel and the United States, and Canada was a Canadian. It's a very small class, there's 8 people. So, you know, those are the things that we get from Women's League that you can't measure with your per capita. And so I'm really excited to take that class with her. She's a leading scholar. She's a retired professor. If you don't know who she is, from Ben Gurion University and Hebrew University. Amazing. She's the wife of an Orthodox rabbi and the mother of a Reform rabbi and a conservative rabbi. So they have it all covered. So, okay. Just wanted to share my news today. Rabbi, take it away.
Excellent. Thank you. I actually thought that her husband was conservative. Maybe he was ordained Orthodox and now he's
He has
conservative.
an Orthodox smicha, yeah.
Interesting, but he's with us now, so it's nice.
Right.
I just want to confirm that you can hear me okay? I have this whole like setup today because it's very loud outside of my house. We're redoing the roof, and even though it's snowing, they still are here. So it's good. And if you want to learn from Naomi Gretz, we have it on our website, because last year, during the heat of the pandemic, I think it was like right before Shavuot, so about May, she gave us a class. It was fantastic. So if you look on our website, it's there. And I'm so glad that you're studying with her, Debbie. It's fantastic. My studying gets me going.
And she wants to come back and teach again.
Oh, good. So I'll speak to the education committee and we'll have her come, because
Terrific.
she was fantastic. She was really, really wonderful. And I'm glad I had the headphones on, because you would all be hearing all the noise outside of my window right now. That sounds like the dentist's office. Okay, so we have today, we're going to study chapter 3, verse 14. well, teaching 14 when we're up to it. But first we have Debbie Holtzman singing the Shabbat for us.
Misheberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Toby. And Yasha Kochech to you. Thank you for everything you do. And we're now up to Psalm 81. It's Thursday, and Paula Ferguson will be reading for us. And I'm wondering if you're not unmuted. Okay, now you are.
For the leader, upon the Gittid, a psalm of Asaph. Sing with joy to God, our strength. Shout with gladness to the God of Jacob. Strike up a melody, sound the timbrel, play sweet tones on harp and lyre. Sound the shofar on the new moon, and again on the full moon for our festival days. It is the law for the people of Israel, a statute of the God of Jacob. God ordained it for Joseph's descendants when he rose against the land of Egypt. I have heard the speech that I had previously ignored. I removed the burden from their shoulder. Their hands were freed from the load. When you called out in distress, I rescued you. Unseen, I answered you in thunder. I tested your faith at an oasis in the wilderness, Selah. Hear this warning, my people Israel, if you would only listen. There will be no strange God in your midst. You shall not worship an alien God. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you up out of Egypt. Open your mouth wide, and I will fill it. But my people did not listen. Israel would have none of me. So I let them persist in their stubbornness. I let them follow their own inclinations. If only my people would listen to me. If only Israel would walk in my ways, how quickly I would subdue their foes and strike out at their oppressors. Enemies of Adonai shall be humbled. Their downfall shall be unending. But I will feed with the richest of wheat. With honey from a rock, I will satisfy you.
Yasha Kochech. I enjoyed your reading. Thank you. So today we learned chapter 3, teaching 14. On the surface, it looks a little confusing. Not many words, but there's a lot to say. Rabbi Dosa ben Harkinus said, late morning sleep, midday wine, children's chatter, and sitting with the unlearned remove a person from the world. So I have to say, when I read this, I was like, what? How judgmental can you be? This is horrible. But don't worry, it teaches a lot. So we'll break it down in a few minutes. Rabbi Dosa ben Hyrcanus, you'll remember that the last couple of teachings in chapter 3 was by a rabbi with a very similar name, Hanina ben Dosa. So who knows, maybe this was his father. They're not quite sure. Probably not though, but they like connected it. It's almost like, well, we're talking about Joe, so let's continue talking about Joe now. So we were talking about Hanina ben Dosa, let's talk about Dosa now. So he was a contemporary of Rabbi Joshua. He lived about the year 100 CE. He was a man of wealth. He was a younger contemporary of Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, and his name often appears without his father's name. So it's nice that his father gets credit here. He lived to see the Second Temple and survive its destruction. So that's pretty amazing. He died during the second decade of the 2nd century, and he lived during the last years of the Second Temple, and then joined the sages in Yavne after the destruction of Jerusalem by the Romans. So he really lived through history. And what is he teaching here? So late morning sleep, meaning sleeping late into the morning, like sleeping a little longer than most do. Beyond the prescribed time for saying Shema is what he's saying. So you sleep so late that you miss the morning Shema for prayer. And it's possible easy to fall into bad habits if you do that. It's a sign of laziness in a way if you sleep late. I don't know, I haven't slept late in years, but apparently people do that. I don't know. But he's saying it's a little bit of laziness. So what this Mishnah is teaching us is the idle pursuits that some might have that might squander your day. I honestly, in my opinion, think it's very judgmental. People have different things. Some people can't sleep at night and don't fall asleep till 4 o'clock in the morning, and they have to sleep late. I bet all of us know people like that. And some people are just tired. So I'm not going to judge. Sleep when you want. But he's saying it's a little bit of a laziness. But you're squandering your time when you could do other things. So you could be saying the Shema, but you're sleeping. But what about these other things? Midday wine. So maybe one shouldn't be drinking wine in the middle of the day. Maybe that's hedonistic. Maybe it's doing too much for yourself. Children's chatter. Well, I don't know about you, but I love listening to children usually. Their voices are beautiful, and you never know what's going to come out of children. But he's saying, again, maybe it's a little bit of like not the best use of time. But we're going to analyze that in a minute, though. So these might be meeting places of, they're saying, possibly the ignorant, those who sleep too long or drink too much or talk to children. So Rashi's the one who said, the commentator, that one oversleeps past the time of Shema. One who chances drunkenness by drinking at noon, you can't then do other mitzvot or other study. One who spends time listening to idle talk of young children. So might not be the most intelligent, he's saying. Maybe it's just idle. I don't know. I think all talk of children is good. And one who spends one's time among those who are occupied with vain matters might be ignorant. So this behavior, what is it doing? All these types of behavior might limit you from doing other mitzvot, from studying Torah, from reciting the Shema. Spending too much time chattering with children and socializing is, some might say, intellectual laxity. I can tell you I don't agree with most of anything he's saying. Why do we worry so much about what people think? Let's just spend our time the way we want to spend it. But also it's teaching us at the same time that life's not only about fun. We have to live with a mission and driven by a purpose. And then that will bring us happiness, some say. So some of these activities like sleeping late, drinking wine in the middle of the day, these are activities that on the surface might seem like a waste of time possibly, but actually they add tremendous value to our time. So what are they saying? They drive a person from this world, the last words, motzi'in et ha'adam min ha'olam, that it's an expression of disapproval in a way, and that you're driving away from doing the ideal work in life. Now, what is the ideal work? And I know this came way before Dr. Ron Wolfson, but I always think about him because he wrote a book on this, that what is our purpose in life? To be a partner with God in creation, that we always need to seek progress in God's creation, that we're not meant to just be idle, that we need to strive for a balance between idleness and doing something. It's a paradox and it's also complex. So God gave us the world. God, we might say, is perfect. The world is not perfect yet. It's up to us to help in that partnership with God. That if we're all created in God's image and God is perfect, humankind is not yet perfect, we need to do activities during the day to reach to that perfection. We have to strive for it. We have to be agents of action and change and improving the world to bring to this perfection, which of course is really not possible. it might be an ideal, but perfection isn't, in my opinion, that possible. But as we're partners with God, we have to strive to do it with joy, the simcha. Though that word isn't in this teaching, I'd like to add the word simcha into what we do. And the Mishnah teaches us that these blessings really should provoke joy in our life. That's sleeping, talking to children, wine, talking to others that might not be like ourselves. I'd rather say, I'll get to Amei Haaretz in a minute. But this is all a way of seeing the partners that are all with us in creation. Now let's think about sleep for the beginning. It's a gift that replenishes all of us. From years ago, we didn't have this analogy, but now we do, that we all know that if you don't plug in your cell phone and don't recharge it, you're going to lose it and you're not going to be able to make a phone call or receive a phone call. So you have to recharge the battery of your cell phone. So what's sleep? We all know that. It's recharging our batteries. We can't keep going if we don't sleep a little bit. And everyone sleeps differently at different times. So what about wine? So what happens with wine? They say nichnas yayin yotze sod. So when wine goes in, secrets come out. So if you ever talk to someone who drinks a lot, sometimes they say a little too much. Another way, very Jewish, very yayin, wine, is the same gematria as the word secret. So that's one of the ways that they say that. And as I was reading this, I was thinking, hey, what's the holiday with the most wine? Purim, coming up soon. So while you're drinking and you're on Zoom with people during your Zoom Purim celebration, think about what secrets you might give out and maybe curtail it a little bit. But wine alters our usual state. Sleep alters our state. Perhaps being with children can alter your state too. My favorite image, my son was very young when my father passed away, but some of the best pictures we have is of my father, who was always known as, don't worry, I didn't call him that, but Dr. Wolins, sitting on the floor playing with my sons. That when you talk to children, it brings you out of your usual state. It alters your state in a way, similar to sleeping and drinking. And the unlearned. Now, I don't like that term at all, but they're part of the community. Perhaps they haven't learned what you have yet. The Hebrew is Amei Haaretz. So an Am Haaretz, they say, is like the general person. Perhaps not somebody who is as learned as the Chacham, as the smart person, but a usual person. The unlettered, they might say. Some might describe the Amei Haaretz as an ignoramus, the people of the land, the people who work the land. And think about that. So I'm redoing my roof here. And these people are really very cool. And how many people would actually go on a roof all day long as their work? So the Amei Haaretz are different types of people. They have professions and work that they don't sit in an office all day. They don't sit at the Beit Midrash, the study hall all day. It reminds me of these guys hanging out on my roof who seem to take a lot of breaks, but they're very fun. I watch them from a distance, and they're different type of people. All of these situations here, the sleep, the wine, the children, the talking to people who might not be like you, and are different states of mind. And quite honestly, it's good to get out of your comfort zone and the people you're always with. Perhaps they say the Amei Haaretz, I'm going back to the text and not my roofers, that the Amei Haaretz may have not been concerned with some halachic issues. So, for example, they didn't concern themselves so much with purity laws or tithes. They perhaps treated it with hostility in a way. Some say the Amei Haaretz were ignorant of Torah. They were generally ignorant. I wouldn't use the term today, just so you all know. Amei Haaretz is a very pejorative term. You don't use it. Just if you're going out in the real world here, don't use the term. It's a term to use for people who are unversed in Torah. And not necessarily used in polite language. So what are we saying here? That we all need these things, honestly, in my opinion, but perhaps in moderation. Maybe don't overdo the sleep where you're missing half the day of life, or don't overdo the wine. Devote yourself to bettering other people's lives, both publicly and privately. Work to make connections. If you think that a children's chatter is just chatter, you're not making the connections. Really listen to them and think about what they're really telling you. try to see what connection they're trying to teach to you. That seeing others approach from their life. That's what's happening here, that you have to look at a children's chatter and see what's their life coming from. Really hear their voices. Pray on their behalf. Think about what the other person is giving you. And I think about what I'm hoping that's happening in this world today with COVID, where we're seeing that life is not in our control, to try to just be present in the moment is the most important thing. My children often ask me about things happening in June. I'm like, I don't know yet. It's February. Live in the moment. Be present now. Live fully now and enjoy the meaning with it. So just a few other things that what Rabbi Dosef Ben Hyrcanus, in my opinion, after studying it, isn't really saying to judge people, but to think about the moderation in our life. And when we do this, what kind of balance we can have. What kind of values do we have in our life? Perhaps sleeping at a proper time could give you a different balance, but quite honestly, that doesn't work for everybody. See, as I've learned from Peloton, you got to do you. What works for you, you got to do you. If a little bit of wine in the middle of the day makes you happier and calms you a little bit, B'tei Avon, I'll say amen to your bracha. But we need some balance. Think about Ecclesiastes. They teach us everything has its season and there's a time for everything under the sun. So we just have to realize that all of these things are in a balance, in moderation, in its due time. Perhaps we don't always have time to listen to the children's chatter all day long, but just think about what kind of gift you're giving to them when you're present at that very moment to be with them. And the late morning sleep, I'm going to stop with this, and it goes back to something Debbie said at the beginning, how we have to take care of ourselves. Think about it. Sleep's only for us, right? You might sleep with somebody beside you in the same room, but sleep is for us to recharge our own personal batteries. So find some sort of self-care to recharge your batteries. If it means the middle of the day schluff, my dad used to take a cute little nap every day. I never understood it, but he did it for a couple of minutes, and somehow afterwards he was ready to go see his patients, and he had patients afterwards too. Like just a little schluff helps you. A little bit of study helps you. Just find that balance in your life and enjoy it. And if you don't have a child to talk to, I got 3 to provide, and they will talk to you to no end. Borrow somebody's, and they'll love it. The importance of listening to another individual is sacred. And I think during this time, we all have this kedusha, this sacredness in our lives. So I wasn't checking the time. I try to finish teaching by 12:30. So I gave myself 3 minutes now. If anyone has any comments, there's a bunch of comments in the chat. I have a feeling they're all telling Toby that she read really well, and Paula that she read the psalm well. But let's see. And if you, oh, Eileen, yes.
Yeah, when you first read it, I said that's towards a woman. It's not written for men, because you're sleeping late, you're listening to kids, you're dealing with people that are coming into the house. It just sounded very male dominated towards women. But then with your explanation, no, but that's what I got at first. I don't know if anybody else did.
Thank you. Now, actually, at the beginning of the teaching, I didn't like it. So I'm glad that I pursued and found something a little better there. Nancy.
You know, I have to say my window's open, so might be yelling. Sorry, I'm in Florida. One of the greatest joys Steve and I both have is when our granddaughter calls us, and half the time it's a video chat, half the time she's not there, and my son's yelling at us. I said, we don't care. We just want to hear her. And it's just like you said, it is our greatest joy. Unfortunately, they're in California. It's the only, and that she's still got that little girl voice because she's only 6. And I love it. It's the best thing in the world. It makes our day when that happens, whether we see her or not. It's the hearing that we get out of it. And she knows that we're there for her. She sees us.
Right. So true. I don't know if my friend Lemore is on today. Lemore Wasserman, I don't see her, but I think it's she that posted on Facebook today a little meme or whatever, a cartoon about how important those phone calls are to our parents, and that when you can't do it, you miss it. I try to, and my mother's on it, she could vouch for me. I think I call her every day. I have learned to do that. My father called his parents every day. And even if it's late at night, I call my mom every day. I hate those 2-day yontifs where you can't make a phone call, but thank God for Zoom, because now we have lunch together. And we have lunch with, not every day, but on Shabbos. And we have lunch with my mother-in-law. And those phone calls are so important. And let me tell you that next year when my daughter's in Israel, I told her, I'm like, you best be calling me and FaceTiming me, because it's so important, that human contact. And I know that so many of us crave that we can't be with our loved ones now, but those FaceTime calls are so important. We have generations on this call right now, I see. And it's really great in the middle of the day, like Edna and Francie. I don't know if you're going to get to see each other today. I haven't seen my mom in I don't know how long, but just to tell your family, tell them to pop on this call. They'll always know where you are at noon Eastern time. So any other comments? I can't always see everybody, so you can unmute yourself. Okay, so I've missed all of you. I have to say, I thank everyone for teaching the last 2 days. I'm hoping that the Masorti Days of Study will be recorded. If not, I'll be on the next ones. How cool that they translate everything into all these different languages. French was new this year and just so awesome. And if you missed this week's, we have 2 more opportunities to learn with our sisters in Israel. So I'm going to turn to Sally Greenstein now, who will be reading our list of those who we are saying Kaddish for.
Thank you, Rabbi. Today we lovingly remember Phyllis Grusin Weinstein, Evelyn Seelig, Sue Press, Leona Elligberg, Dolores Megan, Phyllis Haas, David Copeland, Ivan Stanton, Hilda Stern, Sylvia Krause, Hope Dellin, Herb Blue Bars, Hannah Bat Shimon Vakarline, Ellen Babbitt, Theodore Fishman, Richard Marek, Lillian Tobias, Doris Hildebrandt, Ruth Lewis Bloomfield, Michael Klingbaum, Michael Schrank, Shirley Shapiro, Carol Hope Taub, David Levy, Sandy Ironi, Sandra Silberman, Yvette Caitlin, Rabbi Michael Kane, Marvin Fish, Oscar Warneck, Ilana Finkelstein, Bernice Albert, Toby Case, Harry Polikow, Ernestine Loeb Hamill Erkin, Shelley Barra, Miriam Clow, Effie Polak, Arnie Levinson, Marla Goldberg, Barbara Roth Roberts, Saul Fishman, Davida Shipkowitz, Irv Shapiro, Ike Cohen, Rabbi Stephen Lerner, Nan Freed, Barbara Kaplowitz, Rabbi Eric Wilner, Jace Diaz, Joan Smith, Louis Smith, Jerry Pliskin, Bernice Paul, Yossi Goldstein, Isidore Goldberg. Are there any other names? May these names be a blessing for each of you.
Thank you, Sally. And those who will be reciting the morning's Kaddish, please unmute yourself and rise at this time. If you'll be responding to the Kaddish, please unmute as well. And we'll recite together. Yitzgadal, Yitzkadash, Shemei, Rabba, Yama, Dibra, Birute, Biyamliv, Malchute, V'chayevon, Ubiyomechon, V'chaye, Kol, Beit, Yisrael, Ha'agala, Bisman, Kari, Ru, Amen. Yehi, Shmei,
Rabba,
Barach, Leolam, Ulamei, Maya, Yitbarach, Yishbach, Yitzar, Yisromam, Yisnase, Yitzadar, Yitzaleh, Yitzhalal, Shemay, Kudashah, Rifu, Lela, Minkol, Yarkata, Shirasa, Shushbata, Nechemata, Damiran, Yalmo, Bimru, Amay, Yahesh, Lama, Rabba, Shemaya,
Shemaya,
Chaim, Aleinu, Alkol,
Israel,
Ibru, Amen.
Oseh Shalom,
Shalom,
Mamrav,
Mav,
Aser Shalom,
Shalom,
Aleinu,
Aleinu, Kol,
Yisrael,
Yisrael, Ibru,
Amen.
Bruchim Tehiyu. I just want to remind everybody that Monday is a legal holiday. So on legal holidays, we don't have a set program. We'll be together for socializing if you want. If there are enough people on, you can say Kaddish, but not a set program on Monday. So Debbie, all you.
Thank you, Rabbi. So Francie, I would love for you to unmute yourself and introduce yourself to everybody. I think you're still with us. I see your name on the list.
Hello.
You are. Where are you, Francie? I don't see you. So Francie, tell us a little bit about who you are, because we know your generations before you.
Probably most notably for this phone call, I am Edna Schrank's daughter. Other things to know, I live in Madison, Wisconsin. I have my own daughter who is 19 months old. And I don't know, what else do you want to know?
Just so you know, we always introduce new members of this holy community, and we're just so happy to be with you. And you do know that we love your mom, and
of course,
and that she's a very important part of this community and the Women's League community. And we hold you all, both of you, close to us, and know that your father's memory is a blessing.
Thank you so much.
We're glad that you joined us. It's nice to be with you. Nice to have you with us.
Thanks. Nice to be with all of you.
Okay, so did I pin you, or did you pin yourself? I don't know. Somebody did. Okay, nice to have you with us.
I pinned her. I pinned her, but she's unpinned now, right?
Thank you, Rabbi. Great.
Okay.
So I just wanted to give everybody an update of what's going on. And I lost my screen, but this week, Friday and Saturday, on Women's League Week, there was a message about Repro Shabbat, which is, you know what, I'm going to try to find it so I can give you the right information. Hold on one second here. Maybe you could help me, Rabbi, because I lost my screen.
Okay. It's a few different groups of organizations that are discussing reproductive rights for people, not just for all people. So it's a initiative from the National Council of Jewish Women, and we're one of the co-sponsors. Do you want me to say more?
Nope, that's good.
Okay.
And the only thing I was going to add to that was that Women's League has a very active resolutions committee, and they are in the process right now about writing a new resolution on women's health. Of course, we've had many in the 60s and 70s, and they're writing one now that's appropriate for 2021. So we'll be looking for that very soon. Women's League is very happy to partner with organizations that are involved in pluralism and women's health and reproductive rights. And we feel that as a women's organization, we should be doing that. So I would encourage all of you to take a look at that and sign up and register if that's something that interests you. We do have some other programming that's coming up very soon. Of course, the second day of study is Tuesday, February 23rd. The registration is on Women's League Week. Lois Silverman is continuing her class on Jews and Comedy. And then in March, we have a program under the banner of oh boy, see what happens when I study too much.
Which program are you talking about? And I'll fill you in.
Organ donation. under the
Organ
banner
donations,
of-
March 18th.
It's under the banner of.
Personal conversations.
Thank you, Rabbi. Personal conversations. And that's a great program that I hope all of you will be happy to attend. It's March, what did you say? March what? I left
18th.
my screen. Usually I read
It's
from
okay,
it.
March 18th. We finish each other's sentences. It's okay.
Thank you.
It's like the song
So-
in Frozen.
Yeah. So anyway, we do have lots of programming, and we have a lot of pre-Passover programming that's coming up also. Hard to believe that Passover is coming. Purim is first. We're not forgetting Purim. We have a program that we're joining with this Saturday night after Purim with Merkaz and many of the other organizations from the movement. And the notice for that will be coming out this week. So catch the newsletter. There's a tremendous amount of programming, and there's something for everybody who has any kind of an interest at all. So if you, oh, and the one more thing I want to say is that Audrey shared with us that there's a program for Rosh Chodesh this week in her sisterhood in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the link that I put out yesterday apparently was not the right link. Audrey updated it, and I want to thank Debbie for sharing it in the chat right now. Audrey, if you want to unmute and tell us about that event and where and when, so we can register for it.
Audrey's not on. She had a
Audrey's
class.
not on. Okay. So she'll tell us tomorrow, because I know it's an event over the weekend. Rosh Chodesh is 2 days, Friday and Saturday. Yes, Rabbi?
Debbie,
Rosh
she
Chodesh.
also told us this
Yes.
morning that the time was wrong. It's not 1 o'clock. It's not 2 o'clock. Oh, it's an hour earlier. And
Okay.
she sent, yeah,
Okay.
she'll be on tomorrow.
She'll be on tomorrow. So if you'd like to do that, you can get that link right now. I know it's an updated link. She sent that to me, and I asked Debbie to post it, and Debbie Lempert did post it. So it's in the chat, and we'll put that in the chat again tomorrow. So if you have an interest in participating with Audrey and her sisterhood for Rosh Chodesh, you have a place to go. Okay, thanks.
And I
everybody.
believe, sorry, the Women of the Wall, we didn't actually post it because I didn't get a link, but I think if you go on tonight at I don't know what time it is exactly, but check the Facebook page for Women of the Wall, and I believe they're going to have a service for Rosh Chodesh, which begins tomorrow into Shabbat.
Right, Friday and Saturday. So it is tonight at midnight, and it does stream live on their Facebook page. Okay, and that does start at midnight East Coast time. All right, so we have Rosh Chodesh covered. Anything else we need to cover? We covered Purim, Passover, Rosh Chodesh. Okay, and the year just keeps moving along, folks. It's unbelievable. Okay, everyone stay safe and healthy, and if Audrey were here, she'd say, come back tomorrow, please.
Thank you. Have a
Bye-bye.
good day.
Thank you, everybody.
Rabbi,
Thank
thank you,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.